most important key to achieving great success is to decide upon your goal and then launch. Get started, take action, do something, move.
And it doesn't matter where you're at right now, what you've done in the past, or where you think you're going. You can always create a better tomorrow if you start taking action today.
Action is what flips vision into reality. Imagine planting seeds and then sitting indoors hoping they grow without watering, sunlight, or care. That's what waiting does to your dreams.
Quit holding yourself back. Don't wait. You say, well, I really don't know how I'm going to get started, and the way will show itself. It just appears. I have found when you get started, when you move into action, everything starts to happen around you.
The key is consistency, not perfection. And I'm telling you what, when you start to build confidence through consistency, not perfection, you will start to have this undeniable confidence in your life. And that is the key. Do it even when you're scared, do it when it's not perfect, and be consistent after that. Don't stop when you make mistakes.
The moment you take action, your life will change. The moment you take action, clarity replaces confusion. The moment you take action, momentum begins. The moment you take action, the right time finally arrives. The moment you take action, you stop waiting for permission.
It's the most important quality of successful people. We found there's a direct relationship between how quickly a person takes action on a new idea and how likely it is they'll ever take action on any idea at all. Everybody hears the same things, they hear the same ideas, but then we watch and we see how quickly they take action. And if a person takes action quickly on a new idea, the chances are they're going to be successful go up by hundreds of percent.
Confident people take action even when they're not great at the thing they want to do. They take action and they allow themselves the space to fail, to be humiliated, to not be perfect, and to be a beginner. They take action even when they know they're not great in the beginning. Confident people take action now. They don't say, I want to start this next week or next month or next year. They take action immediately on what they're given to them so they can implement this and anchor this into their life, because they're going to have to repeat it over and over again for the habit to become second nature.
A 12-year study at Babson College concluded that the act of taking the first step is what separates the losers from the winners, or the winners from the losers.
I want you to really think about in your life about the things you've been struggling with, the things you're always trying to pump yourself up about, and ask yourself, what habits have I not built? What actions have I not built? What systems have I not built? We're not failed by our desires or our expectations. We're failed by the systems we don't build. We're failed by the boundaries we don't make. That's what fails us.
If you want revenge for the bad things that have happened in your life, start with the version of you that hasn't lived up to your potential.
Most important thing is that you take action. You see, the major difference between successful people and failures is successful people are action-oriented and failures are not. And I keep looping back, and I found every single study says that successful people are result-oriented. Successful people are action-oriented. They think of what they want and they take action.
What have you learned about how to deal with and overcome fear?
Go. When all that fear that's in your head, all the what ifs and the scenarios that you create inside your own mind that are way worse than anything that is actually going to happen, they all disappear when you go. So just take action and start moving forward.
Never consider the possibility of failure. Every person here is here because they refused to quit when the going got rough. Your ability to persist in the face of setbacks and disappointments is vital to all great achievement, and it's always a decision that you make. It's not the external environment, it's always the internal environment.
What's the holy grail between somebody taking action or not? It's one word: certainty. When you're absolutely certain that if I do this, it's going to get that result, and that result's going to change my life, you'll do it. When you think it absolutely is not going to work, you're never going to do it. The middle no man's land of maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, that's the piece that kills people, right? So if it's a must for you, you got to make it work.
Action is an antidote to anxiety.
Man, action's an antidote to all kinds of problems. Like, yeah, you're gonna blow some stuff, you're gonna make some bad decisions, you're gonna screw some things up. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Like, those make for good stories, man. Go get them, go make them happen. Don't sit around being afraid that you might screw something up. You're gonna screw something up. That's guaranteed. Go do it. get a good story out of it.
Ego wants to keep you in the exact same place because the exact same place that you're in right now unconsciously means safe. And so the ego will pull out all of the stops to trick you so that you don't take action. All of the fears, the limiting beliefs, the doubts, the excuses, everything so that you stay in the exact same place. Have you ever done that before? That you wanted to take action towards something in your life, and then for some reason you held yourself back? If that's the case, it was 100% your ego doing it. So instead of taking action, it creates this fear or limiting belief or story that keeps you too busy thinking about that and too afraid of what could possibly come down the road, so you don't take any action, or you just completely give up on your dreams because of some fear that could possibly be happening later on down the road.
Remember, you don't see things as they are. You see them through your own fears and hopes. You don't see yourself as you are. You see the story you keep repeating about who you are. You don't see the future as it is. You see the version you believe is possible.
Now, if you take action, only two things can happen. What are they? Succeed or fail. Pretty simple. If you succeed, you do more of it. If you fail, what do? You learn something and try something else. Human beings are trial and failure organisms. We trial and fail, try and fail, try and fail, try and fail, try and fail, and then try and succeed. Phil Knight, the president of Nike Shoes, says you only have to succeed the last time. And you know, if you read every single story of every single man or woman who's ever accomplished anything, their entire life is a lifetime of failure. It is failure, 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 outstanding success. Boy, wasn't he lucky. You'll find that successful people try far more things, and most of the things you try won't work. At least they won't work initially. So therefore, the thing is to keep trying, because you have a cybernetic organism or a mechanism built into your brain, which means every time you try anything, you learn something. You try something and you learn something, and you learn what works and you learn what doesn't work. So you find there's a direct relationship between the number of times you try and how likely it is you are to triumph. And so if you hear a good idea today, resolve to give it a try.
Any moment where you have this instinct that you should do something, whether it's speaking up at work, or it's getting out of bed, or it's putting the phone down and actually stepping outside for a walk, whatever it may be, just start counting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You gotta count backwards. Does not work if you count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 does not work because you've been taught to count up your entire life, so it's already recorded in your subconscious. The trick works because if you count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it requires a moment where you have to focus on the counting, and that pulls the front part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, online. So now you've just activated, it's like a little cheat code, the part of the brain that you need to change behavior, or to be strategic, or to actually push yourself to do something. You're now in control for a moment. And the other reason why it works is because it's like the first domino. Counting is an action. And if you've actually decided to count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you've already decided to do it.
Positivity expands our creativity and problem solving, but without action, it just fades. Here's your step. Pair every affirmation with one action. If you say, I'm building wealth, then at the same time, set up an automatic transfer to savings as soon as you get your paycheck. Notice how affirmation and action together creates alignment. Affirmation on its own is wishful thinking. Action on its own doesn't feel like it's fueled with a higher way of living. Affirmation and action together are an unbeatable formula.
Take action. You got to take action and move forward. And if you don't, the downward spiral doesn't end. And if you allow it to continue to go down, that's where it's going to end up. And so you just have to, what are my options? Abandon the whole thing? No, that's not the option. That is not the option. What can I make better right now? And start to reassemble things and put them back together.
Research by Bandura's self-efficacy theory shows confidence comes from doing small things successfully, not from waiting for a big break.
At its simplest form, your brain thinks that taking action equals danger. Your brain's number one job isn't productivity. It's not discipline. It's not taking action. It is survival. And that lazy voice that's in the back of your head, that's your limbic system just trying to keep you, quote unquote, safe. but the only thing it's keeping you safe from is just a little bit of discomfort. And so inside of your brain, taking action, you might know consciously with the 5% of your mind that is your conscious mind that you're going to be taking action and sending an email or doing cold calls or growing your business. You're not going to die doing it. But 95% of the thing that's running the show, which is your subconscious mind, sees taking action as stepping into the unknown, doing something you've never done before. And your brain interprets the unknown as danger. Your brain interprets that as a threat. And so instead of logically saying, hey, the reason why we're not going to grow this business is because you're afraid of failure.
Let's say a person has unlimited potential, we all agree. But they take little action, little results. Why? Because they have to start with a problem with their belief. They don't believe it's really going to happen for me. But what happens is, if you believe that there's very little potential, how much action are you going to take? Nothing, little. And when you take little potential with a little action, what kind of results do you get? Lousy little results. And when you get little results, what does that do to your belief? You go, see, I told you this was a waste of time, told you this wouldn't work. And then what happens? You tap even less potential, you take even less action, you get even worse results, and your belief gets even weaker. And this sucker feeds on itself until you are in a downward spiral.
It's poisonous.
It's poisonous and it's self-fulfilling. If you get yourself in a state of certainty that this is going to work, I'm going to find the way, and if this doesn't work, I will make the way, then you tap a lot more potential. And when you're certain in your potential, you take massive action. When you take massive action, you really believe in something, you get great results. When you get great results, your brain goes, see, I told you I was a stud. I told you this thing would work out. Now you're even stronger. You tap more potential, take greater action, greater results.
Whenever you have a goal, the only question you ask is, how? Whenever you have a problem to solve, the only question you ask is, how? If you have an obstacle to overcome, the only question you ask is, how? Now, the wonderful thing about the word how is that it triggers ideas, and the ideas are all for actions that you can take immediately. And when you take those ideas, you start to get feedback, which enables you to correct your course and take even better steps to achieve your goals. So the average person, when they have a problem, complains and blames other people about the problem. Top people, when they have a problem or goal, they simply say, how can I achieve this goal? And they try this, and they try that, and they try something else, but it never occurs to them that they will not eventually be successful. So they think about what they want and how to get it most of the time.
I do know that when you get started and you take action on your fears, you can create more opportunities for yourself in this season of your life, whatever that is. And for me, that first $500 and then $5,000 was a massive jump in my life. It just blew me away, and I was so grateful and blessed for the opportunity. But I know that if I didn't take action and overcome the fear, it would have never happened. And today, I wouldn't have that opportunity. So I want you to pick something that you've been waiting to be ready for. I want you to take imperfect action this week on it. Schedule the time with the coach and take action. Email someone, launch the blog, launch the YouTube, write a post online, pitch the idea, whatever it is. Because clarity doesn't precede courage, it follows it. So start before you feel ready, and clarity comes from action.
It's about a donkey who is thirsty and hungry, and there's water on one side, a few feet away, and hay on the other. And he can't decide whether to do the hay first, or the water, the hay or the water, and he dies of thirst at the end of it. He couldn't do them sequentially. So this is Derek's recommendation to his younger self, and really to any 20 or 30 something, but it applies to everybody, which is, in effect, you can do almost everything you want in life, but you can't do it at the same time. And if you can just dedicate yourself to one thing for even a year, and then the next thing for a year, you can do those 10 things. But if you try to do all 10 at once, you're gonna be Burden's ass. You go, should I do this? Should I do this? Or should I focus on this? Or should I focus on this? So don't be a donkey.
Action creates clarity. When there's resistance or confusion around things, difficult choices in your life, fear of failure, you can always take action. And not taking action is also inaction. And in regards to success and failure, And procrastination, resistance around failure, I think it's important to keep in mind that failure and success exist on the same continuum. Either one is just data. It's the feedback, it's the result that we get based on the condition of our actions. So if you want success, find the right action, take the action. Whether it's right or wrong, you're going to get clarity. And from there, you'll be in a more powerful position to make your next decision, to make your next move, to achieve that next success. And failure, again, it's just data. Just stack it up, just stack the data. Data stacking, intelligence gathering, action creates clarity.
It is the start that stops most people. They're always going to get ready, to get set, to get going. What we've got to do is, boom, just like that, move into action. And you know, you'd be wise if you sit down at night, before you go to bed, and write down 6 goal-achieving activities. Now that isn't go to the store, or go to the bank, or get to cleaning. It's not that. These are goal-achieving activities. Write down 6 of them. And when you wake up in the morning, you move into action. You know where you're going to go. You don't even have to think about it. Step into action and get on the first one. When you get it done, forget it and go to the second one. Don't think about the first one. Focus on 2. Don't even think about 3. When you get 2 done, go to 3. But knock them off one at a time.
So I think a lot of us have the battle of the other self that we're, the lesser version of ourself that we're trying to kill every single day. And so a lot of times we have this desire to point the blame finger externally, but wherever you point the finger of blame, power follows. And so whoever I blame for the life I have is the person who I give all the power over my existence, over my circumstances. And so it hurts, but if you turn the finger inwards and you start saying, I don't like my life. The person that I need to punish or get back at is the real person who got me here, which is me. And so you may be right that other people did certain things or you got dealt a bad hand. It also doesn't matter because the only thing that you can't control is obviously the actions that you take. And the only person who's in control of that is you.
If more information were the answer, we'd all be billionaires with 6-pack abs. Just absorbing, not even absorbing, just reading and watching and listening to more isn't enough. Like, you have to apply it. You have to use incentives. You have to have rewards and punishments set for yourself so you actually get things done, timelines, etc.
There's only one rule when it comes to productivity. There's only one rule when it comes to success. There's only one rule to getting everything you've ever wanted. And here it is. You're never gonna feel like it. Ever. In any area of your life that you don't have what you want, whether it's the amount of money, the amount of people on your team, the amount of sales, the amount of trips for your family, if you only did the things that you don't feel like doing, you'd have everything you've ever wanted. Those areas where you're happy, you do the work. Those areas where you're complaining, you don't feel like it, so you don't do it.
If you are a pizza lover and you think about the great pizza places in the United States, none of them are full-service restaurants with big menus. They make a thing and they make it the best they can make it, because it must be done with care or it becomes mediocre. And we have created an entire generation of wandering generalities, as Zig would say, instead of meaningful specifics. And to be a meaningful specific, you have to say, this is what I do. You can't say and, because then you have an excuse for everything being sort of average. Mm-hmm. And if your slogan is you can pick anyone and we're anyone, then someone else is going to win. You want to be in and of yourself, the one and only version of that. So I think that's a universal rule. I think that if somebody is more focused than you, they're going to put in more cycles than you, and they're going to learn more than you, and inevitably they're going to become better than you when you have enough competitors. Mm-hmm. So with that said, you got to say, well, the only way that's going to happen is if I say no to all sorts of attractive things.
Stop aspiring. Stop saying you're an aspiring filmmaker. People come up to you, I'm an aspiring filmmaker. The words we use are really strong. You're always going to be aspiring. You're never going to get there if you call yourself somebody who's on the journey.
Yeah.
Say you're a filmmaker. Make a card. I said, make a business card that says, I did, director, cinematographer, editor. Then what do you have to do? Just like the label, you have to conform to your identity. You have to go do that stuff now. And suddenly I have movies out. You go make movies, because that's what a filmmaker does. What does an aspiring filmmaker do? Aspires. Yeah, you aspire. As soon as your identity changes, your label, you conform to that. So that's the power of identity and the words we choose to describe ourselves.